EN 勢がね、やっぱバチって私はこう思うよって言ってくれる。うん。私はね、どっちかっていうとそっちに慣れてたので、すごい全然楽だなって思いますし、もちろん船長のね何って思いながらも、もちろんね、船長が、やりたいことを、
Hey, Mr.
心でね、伝わ
Mr.
ってる
Goonie.
から全く問題ない。船長まだ見てんの？船長いなくなってくださいよ。ちょっと何見てるんですか？恥ずかしいですよ。ずっと見てたくさ。
That was on Twitch. Twitch. Okay, hello there, Mr. Goonie. Okay. Let's see. I put this like this. Here I go to Twitch. Save from Marsounds.
We are going to
Right, bro.
Okay, I mute this. Okay. Okay. All seems to be working now. Okay, it's time to rank up. Oh my blizzard. Melted.
We're going to do beautiful things together. I'm not afraid. I'll never be.
Everybody know.
Today will be our day. Fight Rika.
This is your champion.
We have to kill. It doesn't matter what my challenges are. I have to kill.
I'm the jump master. This
Okay.
time.
Someone else.
I will choose our location for battle. Battle lies below. Might be something good this way.
Copy that.
Wait. Where did all this come from? That wasn't there.
I don't like this. They didn't know what they were messing with. Just like Sing Labs.
This wasn't here. Since when did this happen? How did this happen? This is so creepy. It's like an alien movie.
Level 2.
First blood.
Let's see. Yeah, just in case.
Tossing jump drive.
Extended heavy mag here. Level 3.
Give me that.
I need it.
Eva 8 here.
I have an extended sniper mag here. Level 4. Thanks.
Your gratitude is great.
That. I don't need that. So what else is changed? Has changed. So this.
Evo sheet here. Level 2.
Give me that.
I need it. Thanks.
Jump drive in position.
Contact.
Okay. All Father, give me sight.
Oh, there they are.
Attention. There is a new kill leader. New kill leader. Watch for them.
I need...
Let's explore.
I need a
this way.
backpack.
Light ammo here. Backpack here. Level 1.
Thanks.
mighty
Opening
helpful.
shop. Come see the merchandise.
Scanning the area.
Okay.
The ring is
Backpack
close.
here. Level
Hand
4.
grenades is up.
Only the best for my friends.
You should. Gracias. Okay.
Nice choice. You've got good taste. You are coming home with me tonight.
Ah, you broke it.
The ring is close.
Wait, there are bolts?
Scanning the area.
We've got 30 seconds to get to the next ring. If you go down, I'm not carrying
Okay,
you.
let's see. Where was the stuff? Turbine. Oh, so the carrier is here. We are all the way over here. That explains a little bit, but not enough.
10 seconds. The ring is close.
Jump drive in position.
Okay. This place is unpleasant.
Ring's coming in.
The sun messes up my guidance. My
Enemy over there.
echolocation.
Copy that.
And the ship messes up my map.
Jump drive set.
Enemy over there.
Okay.
Care package being delivered.
Package coming in.
Scanning the area. Down there, hostile. I'm taking fire. Down another.
Jump drive activated.
Reload. Fight the tactic. Last of that enemy. Taking a moment to recharge my shields. Let's go this way.
Standard stock here. Level 3.
Where is the best?
Evo shield here.
This
Level
way.
3.
Taking
Standard
a
stock
moment to
here.
recharge my
Level 3.
shields. Marking our surroundings.
I don't know where he is.
Opening shop. Come see the
Damn it.
merchandise.
There you
Extended energy mag here.
are. One of these.
Level 3.
One of these. You here. And
Good taste.
trying to break it again.
Attention, the kill leader has been eliminated.
Yes, I will take this. Give me that piece key. Or not, I don't care anymore. Okay. Did I hear enemies? Just my imagination.
Get in. Let's find the best one.
I've been joined.
Jump drive in position. Lovely. I was getting tired of walking.
Wait, where is this? I
Scanning
don't
the
know
area.
where we are. Okay, now.
Making contact with enemy. From here I talk I follow.
Time to go.
Making my exit here.
Healing up.
Calling upon nature's strength.
Fire. Too slow. Someone beat us to it. Recharging shields.
I down the hostile. All father, give me sight.
Standard stock here. Level 3.
I'm taking fire. Reloading.
Recharging my
Attention.
shields.
I have been named the
I
kill
haven't
leader.
done anything here.
Recharging my shields.
My team is killing it.
Freshening up with a Phoenix kit.
Marking our surroundings.
What should I take? Of these. Okay. I don't think
Welcome to the shop. I've got just the thing for you.
Round 2. Beginning ring countdown.
Extended heavy mag here. Level 4. Only the best for my friends. Remember who hooked you up? I've got your back.
Replicator on high.
that. And that
Thank
big
you.
here.
I have an extended sniper mag here. Level 3. Catching myself up.
Target spotted.
Heard that.
I think that's a medkit.
We are blessed with the trident. Let us board. This Tychne will bear us to victory.
Lovely.
Let's explore this way.
I was getting tired of walking. Let's use that jump tower.
Almost found. Found.
Copy that.
Here's where I get
Damage upon me. Our enemies will struggle.
taking damage.
Contact.
I'm down.
Recharging my shields.
Punching a tunnel. They spotted me. I'm taking shots. Reloading. Left man down.
Damn it!
Marking our surroundings. Loading. Down and up. Taking a moment to heal. Your time is not over yet.
Thanks. I'm hurt. Using a Phoenix kit.
Our enemies have met their fate. That's in possession of our brethren's banner. Taking a moment to recharge my shield.
Warning. Ring movement in progress.
Take this and this.
Healing my wounds.
Okay. It's going from there to here. Okay, that's shot.
Attention.
Off.
Delivering care package.
Care package on high. We are made greater by dismount. Let us ride. This way, let's go. Dismounting here. Join me.
You're gonna die that way. I will
Join
wait
me.
for you guys.
The gods grant us legs to walk, and this Tychne to fly. Enough Tychne.
Round 3. Beginning ring countdown.
Taking a moment to heal.
It's gonna hurt. It's level 3 already. You better run.
I couldn't leave so many treasures behind.
This Tychne will bear us to victory. Blessings of
Medkit here.
Here's where I get off.
Dismounting here. Healing my wounds.
You made it. I didn't believe you.
Syringe here. Medkit here. Got an Evo shield here. Level 2.
Extended heavy mag here.
This is not scavengers. I don't know.
Recharging
Enemy over
shields.
there. Target spotted.
Okay.
Might be something good this way.
Enemy over there.
See so many.
Let's explore this way.
Recharging my shields.
Bless me with sight.
Healing.
Hostile over there. Battling the enemy.
Jump drive out.
Flag grenade set.
Yes. Sunday.
Grenade out. Reloading.
Reloading.
1 second, we got this. Arcstar out. Reloading. I've been down. Hostile right here.
Recharging my shields.
There's another squad on us.
Run. Protect
If it makes you feel any better, my fans love you.
We have the benefit. We are inside. Care package on high.
Go ahead and just
Susie is in the class Gastropoda, which encompasses snails and slugs. Specifically, and by specifically I mean specifically, and by I mean, Susie is a type of sea slug called a nudibranch. There are around 3,000 freaky species of nudibranchs, but they come in two basic body plans. One body plan can be seen in the earlid nudibranchs. They can look a bit like claymation pubic hair, or like a porcupine rolled around in candy corn. Their backs are covered with floppy spiky things called serrata. These serrata are extensions of their digestive system, because why not? But they also assist in breathing. The other body plan belongs to the Dorid nudibranch. It is the more sluggy of the two.
Light ammo
Dorid nudibranchs have a sturdy, fleshy covering called a mantle. The mantle can sometimes look like a frilly skirt, or perhaps a fashionable poncho. Some species, like the Spanish dancer nudibranch,
Light ammo
can use
here.
this skirt to swim, sort of. Some other nudibranchs also try the swimmy, but in most cases it looks a bit like a Muppet simultaneously auditioning for the part of the S, U, and N in a Sesame Street production brought to you by the word fun. It does actually look fun to swim like that, like sneezing in outer space. Up front, nudibranchs have two rhinophores, which are kind of like nostrils that are inside out. Much like our noses can pick up the chemical signals of a fart wafting in the air, these rhinophores can pick up chemical signals in the water. This is important because their eyes totally suck. They are very tiny and can only sense dark and light. Like a colorblind machinist in a Skittles factory, the nudibranch is unable to appreciate the beauty of its own decoration. This one looks a bit like a land speeder. Whoa! Except near the back where you would expect the peoples to sit. That is a plume of gills that encircle their anus. These gills are beautifully folded structures that maximize surface area to extract oxygen from the water. These allow the Dorid nudibranch to breathe right next to its anus. Before you judge, however, to the nudibranch, this body plan might feel like an upgrade. To understand this, let's look at some nudibranchs when they are babies. Little baby nudibranchs look a lot like snails. They have a shell, and some even form an operculum, a little trapdoor for their hidey hole. A long time ago, the shelled ancestor of snails and slugs got into some freaky shit called torsion. Torsion is a twisted change in body plan. To understand this, imagine if you laid down on your stomach and arched your back. Then you grabbed your left foot with your right hand and your right foot with your left hand. Now imagine twisting really hard so that your butt faces upwards and is right over your face. This is the first yoga pose they teach you when you arrive in hell. Snails live out their lives cheerfully with this arrangement. Don't ask why. Every time you ask why, evolution adds or removes a nipple from a cat. Look it up. However, millions of years ago, after a night of eating jalapeno chili con carne, the ancestor of the nudibranch had enough of this head up your butt. As it transitions to its juvenile state, the baby nudibranch loses its shell, untwists, and does its best to put all of its organs back in some semblance of order. That is to say that the nudibranch is a bit of an unsnailed snail, and at least its mouth and nose have a bit of distance from its gill-ringed anus. And yes, that one does look like a Pikachu that got busy with a Swiffer. The nudibranch's mouth parts are under its front parts, right between the befingered mustachio of two feeding tentacles that can help it feel around for food. They eat a variety of animals. Tunicates, bryozoans, and hydroids are animals that eat plants. The Kaza Ocean is weird. They are among the cutest carnivorous predators, and will even eat other slugs and nudibranchs. This one's eating a slug called a sea hare. It looks like a rabbit who's squirt farting purple ink because he's seriously If you speed it up, it looks like he's slipping a noodle. Which is basically a cow with teeth on it, which is crazy. There's a French kiss a nudibranch. Here we see an anemone being hunted by a rainbow nudibranch, which does not look like a rainbow at all, or like a curtain that a cat got to, but it strikes with the vigor of a proctologist who lost a wedding ring. That's like trying to tongue sponge the crumbs out of the bottom of a can of Pringles. One group of nudibranchs in the genus Melody has evolved a different feeding strategy. It has traded in its toothed-tongue head in the shape of a Venus flytrap. It uses its head like a seafloor pooper, like if you used your hoodie to eat a shrimp taco, a skeleton shrimp taco. Lacking a shell, sea slugs, including nudibranchs and this spotted sea hare, which does not look like a rabbit, must get creative when it comes to defense from predation. Some have evolved to be very good at camouflage. You see these cows? I tricked you. They're not cows, they're nudibranchs. You thought they were cows. You must feel like a real dum-dum man. This one is perfectly camouflaged as an old man with his hands behind his back inspecting his garden. Damn slugs eating my azaleas. That's irony. You better stop or I will assault you. That's a dad joke. Some nudibranchs, like this ghost Melody, have gotten so good at hiding they're transparent. Mostly. Fortunately, their less transparent insides resemble a bunch of floaty sea garbage. Well played, Melody. Many of the animals that nudibranchs eat contain toxins. Some Dorid nudibranchs incorporate these toxins into their body parts, so they don't taste good. The defense after you've been bitten approach is a little late in the process for me. But it has been proposed that the bright coloring of some nudibranchs has evolved as a warning sign to potential predators.
Scary clown says run away.
Some eelid nudibranchs take this one step further. They eat animals that have specialized stinging cells called nematocysts. Glaucus atlanticus, for example, will eat the blue bottle man-o'-war jellyfish. The jellyfish, however, contains thousands of these nematocysts coiled up and ready to fire when disturbed. Much like butt-smuggling hand grenades, eelid nudibranchs ingest these cells and transport the immature unexploded ones out to the tips of their serrata, where they can use them for their own stinging defense. It's pretty cool. Look at this one. They're using like a little laser. It's like if when you ate Pop Rocks, you could transport them to the tip of your fingers, you perv, for a tingly handshake. The blue dragon nudibranch also steals cells. Instead of stingers, it steals zooxanthellae, microscopic plants, incorporating them into its body and using them to produce food from sunlight. You know who else does this? This little guy. It's a Saklagossan sea slug, not a nudibranch, but who cares? I love it. It's cuter than puppies. It is mating season. And first, the nudibranchs have to find each other. They are often solitary and spread out. Finding the slime trail of another nudibranch is worth following up on. Many nudibranchs do this trailing behavior, following another's slime trail until they're right up in it. And I mean right up in it. But not really right up in it. The nudibranch's genitals are located up near its head on the right side of its body, because of course they are. This means that they have to position themselves so their right sides line up. Think of it like a high five, but with no hands and 4 genitals. That's right, 4. Nudibranchs are hermaphrodites, meaning that each is equipped with both a penis and a vagina. I know what you're thinking. If I had that kind of luggage, I'd pack it myself. Sure, once in a while, a researcher will find a nudibranch's penis inside of its own vagina. Don't judge, it's a lot to keep track of. And quite frankly, if it's in the way, flopping around out there, it's the obvious place to put it. I mean, why aren't our pants pockets shaped like gloves? There's mysteries in this world. Doesn't mean you're trying to self-fertilize, just some healthy curiosity. While mating, both nudibranchs put their penises inside the other's vagina, and both are fertilized in the process. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you squint, you might notice that the nudibranch penis has a bit of a barbed hook sort of shape. That can make uncoupling a bit of a bitch. So much so that the Chromodorus reticulata just lets it break off and grow back again. It's one way to do it. After mating, it is time for the nudibranch to deposit its fertilized eggs. It does so in a series of beautiful strings and rosettes, adorning the shapes of the ocean floor. Thousands of little eggs that will become thousands of little babies, and the circle of life continues. Listen, sometimes feeling safe in a shell isn't worth having your insides all twisted up, or having an ass on your head. That might be too on the nose. I didn't mean like an ass on your nose. I mean too literal. The point is, sometimes you have to take a risk. Get out of that shell and untwist. Who knows what kind of crazy, beautiful thing you might become. Twist. It felt like it should rhyme. And that is how the nudibranch do.
Now let's learn something about hummingbirds.
This is the hummingbird. Hummingbirds are tiny little birds. So tiny that moths are sometimes mistaken for hummingbirds. And the blue jays, you know how they are, they tease, "Where's your pupa?" And then the hummingbird's like, "It's pronounced pupa and I'm not a moth." But if you start correcting the pronunciation of a bully, you're a nerd bird. And they're like, "Hey nerd bird, are you gonna stick your freaky fingernail tongue into some flower's sexy hole?" And to be honest, that one is actually fair. They do have a freaky little tongue. We'll get back to that in a second. But you don't just wake up one day saying you want a deep tongue of flower, just like no one has a to-do list that includes trying to snort cocaine residue out of a shag carpet. It's just the sad outcome of a very serious addiction. Flowers contain nectar, which contains sugar, and hummingbirds are addicted to it. Addicted to it. Jerry, I don't need the phonetics, I can read. But this isn't some hiding a bunch of Kit Kats in random drawers around the apartment kind of sugar addiction. You know who you are. These little hummers drink more than twice their body weight in nectar each day, using their tongue. And this is no ordinary run-of-the-mill tongue. The back part is fleshy like ours, but it has a bone in it, don't judge. The long front part, however, is made of keratin, like a fingernail. And this fingernail tongue grows in a curious shape. If we zoom in, you can see that a cross-section of the tongue looks like two tadpoles that got into an argument. On closer inspection, it looks like a thumb smear wipe of mucus on a windshield. But magnified further, it resembles a fancy reclaimed wood cheese board you got as a gift, but don't use because cheese gets in those little cracks and holes. It's bullshit. However, if you zoom in all the way, you know what that looks like. That is the pattern on a Mead composition notebook, the very pattern that contains a spot that looks precisely like a cross-section of a hummingbird beak. Anyway, you can see that it forms two not rolled up all the way fruit roll-ups. I know what you're thinking, two straws, right? Wrong. As if nature ever does things the easy way. Even if you close the tubes up, they back into that fleshy bit, so no sucky-sucky. Instead, Dr. Margaret Rubega and her team discovered these are flexible mechanical pumps. When the hummingbird sticks out its tongue, it smushes these tubes in its beak parts. A thin layer of water molecules keeps it smushed, even though it wants to return to its tube shape. On contact with the nectar, the whole thing springs open and pulls the nectar into the tubes. The loaded tongue is pulled back into the beak, where the nectar is squeezed out during the next contact. And this all happens very quickly, 15 licks every second, and they take over 1,000 of these drinks a day. That's a lot of lick friction, and so this fingernail tongue is continuously growing as the tip wears down. But these little bad...
Continue that later. Give me that.
Bolt SMG here.
Auto check here. Woohoo, that's got a kick!
Here's some high tier loot for your boy.
First blood. Game bloody on, fellas.
Level 2.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
I need light ammo. Thanks.
Anytime. Light ammo here. Backpack here. Level 2. Don't worry, it won't slow you down.
Thank you.
One kill leader appointed.
De nada. New kill leader. I need energy ammo. Gracias.
Alright, mate,
Yeah,
don't have a
light ammo
fire.
here.
Okay, here we are. One of these, one of these, one of
Heavy
these.
ammo here.
This.
Fighting for E.
Yes, yeah, I love tridents.
Heard
Get
that.
in, amigos.
Extended light mag here. Level 1.
Get in. Let's find the best route.
Let's go over here.
Sniper
Come
stock
on,
here.
get in the vehicle.
Level 3. Now give it heaps.
New kill leader. Not for long, pal.
Time to pick a fight. Moving here. Contact with hostile. I'm out of here.
That's as fast as you can go? Man, I'm better off running. See someone out there.
I need optics for an LMG.
K143.
Evo shield here. Evo shield here.
Firing! I'm running this way.
Going to face.
500.
I love
Dazzers make the most of everything, and even the wear and tear is an engineering marvel. Watch what happens right at the end of the tongue. Whee! Like a party. The tip of the hummingbird tongue is the ultimate split end. The two tubes separate and begin to fray, sort of like the leaves on a tropical plant. The resulting structure looks like two tiny feathers that fairies might tickle each other with. When this bifurcated tip enters the nectar, the fronds spread out, like a centipede trying to give a hug. This little nectar mop increases the surface area at the tip of the tongue, and helps to get into those hard-to-reach places inside a flower's naughty bits. As it exits the nectar, the whole structure closes back up, trapping additional sugar sauce that wasn't pulled up into the tubes. When a hummingbird says just the tip, you might be licked dry in an instant. Jerry, that's a moth. So anyway, they're out there flip-flapping all over the place, hitting the juice with their freaky tongue, and they're tweaked out. You've been there. It's like cramming for a test with a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper. All jittery and you have to pee every minute. I'm telling you, everything's up to 11 with these tiny puffball junkie birds. And when they're hopped up looking for that next flower fix, their little wing parts are going at 30 to 40 flaps per second. And their heart, forget about it. Well, not before I say it. It's like a speedcore set at an EDM concert. Somewhere between 500 and 1,000 beats per minute. Now forget about it. And they run hot. You can see it on this tie-dye cam. Friggin' science hippies. 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately, look it up on Google yourself, Celsius. Friggin' metric system. Takes all the romance out of measurement. I want my units based on the size of a king's unit. That's what a shitload is. 1 king's loaf. Anyway, these jacked up Hummers are caught in this crazy trade-off. If you want to take 1,000 drinks, you have to be quick, in all directions, so you get small. And you can't store what you eat as fat or it'll slow you down. So you end up constantly converting the sugar you eat to energy so that you can get more sugar to eat. And if you stop, you starve. It is a vicious bicycle. Jerry, it's cycle. It's not short for bicycle. So with all that going on, you can't blame them for being a little bit aggro sometimes. And by a little bit, I mean crouching tiger, asshole hummingbird sort of aggro. They can be vicious little bastard birds. It's like NMN, but on a trapeze, and with swords. It's a jet limit. Hummingbirds will often aggressively defend a territory. They have remarkable spatial memory, and their territory can be a long path of flowers that they visit each day, referred to as a trap line. But of course, a well-hung feeder is the motherlode. Jack Floyd would have a field day with that sentence. Your background patio is basically a SummerSlam wrestling event, with tiny birds beaking the shirt out of each other. Some species take it a step further, and the males have full-on weaponized beaks, complete with dagger-like serrated toothy things on their tomia, right on the shoulders of their jaw parts, as well as hooked tips. The bears don't even try to ride these ones. They're too dangerous. And if they find a dead one, they'll take the beak off and make 2 saws out of it, use them to cut down twigs to make toothpicks. That's how they're made, and that's how...
Fight to them!
Beginning ring countdown.
Okay.
You're gonna have to move at my speed to make the next ring.
Attention.
Scanning the area.
Champ's out of commish.
Attention. There is a new
See someone out there.
Bless me with sight.
Cano. Grab that banner. Mates don't leave mates behind.
I'm taking fire. Reloading. The fight is not even. Multiple
Don't
squads
fight,
attack.
don't fight.
I am down, but alive.
Got old mate's banner.
Going to check out right here.
Come here, little banner.
Okay. Let's get out of here.
One to your left, like way far away. It's probably really good. Or that one on your right, yeah.
Of course, he didn't understand what I was doing.
One minute and I'm so close I can damn near taste the wreck.
I'm just gonna go look around.
I return to the hunt.
Now that was awesome! 45 seconds, but we could just walk it. Someone's out there. Half toast.
Reckon we
half
should go
toast.
here. Changed my mind. Bloody
Rápido,
hell.
Okay.
30 seconds remain. Safety is an arrow shot away.
Let and rip. Don't get shooting at me. Reloading. Recharging my shield.
Go time. Ring's closing.
Where
I
are
like
you
pushing
going,
limits
little
as
one?
much as the next guy, but we gotta go.
Reloading.
Spotted a cloud. Reload. Recharging my shield.
Enemies right here. Taking fire. Charging on my shields.
Being shot at. Launching me knuckle cluster. Juicing me shields.
Oh, yes. sir.
Grenade out.
Bouncing the enemy.
Taking fire.
Reload.
Grenade. Reloading.
Reloading.
Falling. Making contact with enemy.
Took out a joker. Reloading.
Reloading.
Never mind. Hostile right here. Hostile with... Let us go this
All
way.
right, cover.
Contact with hostile. Making contact with enemy.
Reloading.
It's go time. Hitting the eject button.
Valhalla's gonna have to wait, Houndy.
Oh, I'm down.
Being shot at. Launching me knuckle. Reloading. Down. Ah, screwed.
Jump out here.
Got me a problem. Cloud here. Over there. Lucky me. Enemy here.
Fires at me. Contact.
Okay, I got to.
I will assist you.
Enemy here, fellas.
Must go faster. Charging on my shields.
Enemy reviving here.
Attention. There is a new kill
Taking a
leader.
moment to recharge my shields.
New kill leader? Not for long, pal.
Okay, let's continue learning about how
Fairies put food on the table, and I'll shit in a cup if you say. I mean, if there is a wrestling event with tiny birds beaking the shirt out of each other. Some species take it a step further, and the males have full-on weaponized beaks, complete with dagger-like serrated toothy things on their tomia, the outside borders of their jaw parts, as well as hooked tips. The fairies don't even try to ride these ones. They're too dangerous. I mean, if they find a dead one, they'll take the beak off and make two saws out of it, use them to cut down twigs to make toothpicks. That's how they're made, and that's how fairies put food on the table. And I'll put in a cup if you say otherwise. These shorter weapon beaks are most likely less efficient for feeding, but the trade-off allows them to defend the flowers that they like the most, sending the other hummingbirds who don't want to deal with crazy farther afield. Now, you can imagine that after a long day of running on fumes, all tweaked out and getting the crap beaked out of you, you'd start feeling ridden hard and put away wet. What is that, Jerry? That sounds dirty. It's about what? Jerry, we don't use that word. Oh, I see. Horse. You're saying a horse. Well, that's perverted, Jerry. When cold or darkness makes it too costly an energy for the hummingbird to keep up its habit, it goes into something called torpor, the hummingbird version of a sugar crash. It's extreme. It's like a did you try unplugging it and plugging it back in kind of crash. Its body temperature can drop more than 40 degrees, matching the temperature of the air around it. Its heart rate drops from over 1,000 beats per minute to under 100. This allows the hummingbird to use just a fraction of the energy it expends during the day, which prevents the bird from starving to death. In this state, the bird is offline and cannot respond to outside stimuli. Two tendons in their landing gear lock their little bird feet in place, so they can hang on, even if the naughty teenage fairies come and tip them over in the middle of the night. When it's time to wake up, it can take them up to 20 minutes to shiver and shake their way up to normal body temperature. And of course, the first thing they do is stalk. As springtime approaches, the hummingbirds start to get horny. They prepare to do a kind of reverse spring break. While college students fly south to sip on drinks with flowers in them and get laid in places like Cabo San Lucas, hummingbirds leave places like Cabo San Lucas and fly north to sip on flowers with drinks in them and get laid in places like Toledo. I'm not busting on Toledo. I'll leave that to the hummingbirds. Sorry. But first, they must fatten up for the journey. They will nearly double their weight, so they have the energy reserves for these intense journeys that can even take some of these little chubby puffballs across the Gulf of Mexico. Hummingbirds eat insects in order to round out their diet with vital amino acids and fats. Although it looks a bit like trying to catch a fly with tweezers, their bottom beak part is flexible and both bends downward and widens when they open their mouths, right before it all snaps shut. They are not above stealing food directly from a spider's web, what it watches no less. It's the second crappiest thing they do to the spider. After they migrate, they are ready to bump uglies, so to speak, and it's like the balcony scene in Romeo and Juliet, but the agro-musical theater version. Males put on quite a show, little aerial dances where they puff out their gorgets, which is like a built-in ascot. But in terms of impressing the females, the males have one more trick up their, well, you'll find out. With a female perched below, the male climbs high up into the sky above her. When he is satisfied with his ups, he turns around and heads downward in an arc, flapping his little wings to gain speed in a dive that can reach nearly 50 miles per hour. As he approaches the bottom of the arc just above the female, he flashes his gorget and makes a sound. That was an Anna's hummingbird, but each species makes its own sound. The black-chinned hummingbird makes this sound. The rufous hummingbird sounds like this. And then there's the calliope hummingbird, the smallest bird in North America. It does a little barrel roll right at the end. Let's listen.
This is your champion.
For science, let's slow that down. A little bit more. For science. These sounds are not made with their mouth parts. They're made with their butts, sort of. You may have noticed at the bottom of the arc, the male fans out his tail feathers. Dr. Chris Clark and his team put some of these feathers into a wind tunnel. I mean, if you had your own wind tunnel, you'd put all kinds of crap in, not a baby. Not...
Heading this way, fellas.
Something good there. Downed an enemy.
Pure craziness.
Mayonnaise, but definitely
That
the
was
butt
fast.
feathers of a bird. They found that these tail feathers are specialized to make sound as air rushes past them. Different feathers in different positions make different sounds. Sometimes feathers will even interact with one another. One function of the hummingbird dive is to build up speed so they can use their butt feathers as an instrument. Imagine impressing your date on a picnic by climbing up a large hill, then running down as fast as you can, and right when you pass them, spreading your cheeks and... That is how a hummingbird do. If the female is up for it, then they will rub their cloacas together. Not totally sure how the position works. Lots of feathers in the way, but there's rubbing. Then the male flies right off and the female is left to do everything else. And she's good at it too. She builds a tiny nest from fluffy things like moss, lichen, and dandelion down. To weave it together, she will steal the silk from spiders' webs. I told you. Like a good pair of sweatpants, the nest is designed to stretch as the eggs hatch and the babies grow. During this time, she must protect her nest as well as find food, both for herself and to puke into her waiting babies' beaks. To keep her babies warm at night, she will avoid torpor and keep her little engine running day and night. All of this, and then one day they are grown, ready to venture out. What was that? Seriously, Jerry, I'm trying to do the ending, and you have a psychedelic bird baby taking a shit right on screen. Well, that's ruined. I mean, the point was going to be don't do drugs. Not a lot of them, anyway. Everything in moderation. Except moderation. You do that all the time. If you wake up and your tongue is in the shape of a crack, that's a good sign. I mean, it's a good sign if it's bad. The hummingbird is a pollinator.
First blood. Game bloody on, fellas.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
The next ring is quite far.
Extended sniper mag here. Level sniper stock here. Level 3.
I've got an Evo shield here. It's cool. Level 2.
Yeah, that I have.
I've got an Evo shield here. It's cool. Level 3.
The other I can have it. Now mark the level 2. Mark it, damn it. You little bastard. Okay, I have enough food.
Grappling.
New kill leader appointed.
Watch out for the new kill leader, friend. I've got an Evo shield here. It's cool. Level 2.
I need a hop up. Turbocharger.
The ring's far and she closes in a minute. Pedal to the metal, fella. Hands off, that's a Prezi for Fusey.
The ring is
We
far.
ought to go here. Just taking... Forget that, eh?
Nice, that's what I need.
R301 here. Hostile right here.
Yep.
Evo shield here.
Bloody Joker over there. Joker's kidnapping.
Reloading. I killed an enemy.
Reload. Got a secure package coming in.
We just eliminated.
Juicing me shields.
Coming.
Valhalla's gonna have to wait, Houndy. Recharging me shields.
Recharging my shields.
Evo shield here. Level 3.
Healing my wound. Taking a moment to recharge my shields.
R301 here.
Yes.
Recharging my shields.
Here it comes. Good. Okay, we're good.
Come on, kiddies. Time for a relaxing Sunday drive.
Half the squads remain. Let's keep winning. Let's explore this way.
Tucking and rolling out of the vehicle here.
Attention.
Scanning for the next ring. Check your minimap.
I didn't think that could fall.
Extended light mag here. Level 2.
No need. I have. Okay, this part is the same. I'ma get to them.
Enemy over there.
Hell yeah.
Marking our surroundings. Squad's attack.
One fell.
Launching me. Going there.
Round 2.
Okay, if someone could,
Friends,
press me.
look at the map. It's far.
Fight alone, die quick.
Giving my shields.
Marking our surroundings.
Replicator being delivered.
They're dropping a replicator.
Houndy, you're a sight for sore eye. Using a Phoenix kit.
Hit,
Taking a
cheese,
moment to recharge
cheese.
my shields.
Drongo over there.
Med kit
Lucky
here.
me.
Taking a moment to heal.
Squad's cutting in.
Firing. Enemy down.
Cluster out. Fair income shot, though.
Giving my shields a recharge.
Bloody Joker over there.
Repairing.
Okay, we were surrounded.
Bats need our help. And lucky for us, there is a hero named Dr. Merlin Tuttle. See, I told you, that's his name right there. No, Jerry, he's not holding an invisible baby. It's too big to be an invisible baby. Whatever it is, he's massaging it. Dr. Tuttle has devoted his life to saving bats. And look, he's doing it right now, going right into the crotch of that tree. And trust me, that tree is honored to have Merlin Tuttle climb into its crevice. And you would be too. You know the origin story of Batman where the little boy pees his pants because he gets stuck in the middle of some bats flying around? Well, that actually happened to Merlin when he was a boy. Not the pee part, but the part with the bats. And you know what? He wasn't scared. He loved it. And that's why one is a pretend and the other one is a real-life freaking hero. Here's the deal. These cute little bastards want you to give Merlin your money by donating to the Merlin Tuttle Bat Conservation. And right now, for every $1 that you give, you will have given $1, and that's a promise. You know that bridge in Austin, Texas that every single person who's ever been to Austin, Texas tells you about? The one with the bats. Yeah, that's Merlin Tuttle. I mean, he's not the bridge, but I'm saying it's there because of Merlin Tuttle. Not the bridge. It's again not the bridge. The bats. They were going to kill those bats, but Merlin Tuttle showed them not to be afraid. He's good at that. He has a philosophy called winning friends, not battles. And he's not even a hippie. He's serious about it, too. In American Samoa, he made friends with the hunters who were shooting all the fruit bats into extinction. The bullshit Batman would have tried to beat them all up and thrown bat-shaped paraphernalia at them. But Merlin Tuttle made friends, which is hard to do with someone who's killing the things you love. Those hunters became his allies, and they gave up hunting those bats. And they helped him establish a whole national park there. But wait, there's more. Check this out. The year is 1981. Merlin Tuttle's mustache is already in full blossom. Jerry, you got another angle on that stash? Oh, that's good. Look at him, he knows it too. Anyway, Merlin's in Thailand helping some Buddhist monks with their bat poop problem. The poop from insect-eating bats is like gold if gold were made out of bat poop. It even has its own name, guano, which is cooler than my poop's name, Theodore. Guano can be sold as fertilizer, which is how the monks made money. But each year there was less of it. I know what you're thinking. If the bats hang upside down, how do they poop without a full-body skid mark? Do they do a little sit-up? Or is it more of a one-foot hang? I don't know, but you know who does? Dr. Merlin Tuttle. Anyway, Merlin discovers a poacher who put up a giant net in front of the bat cave. And you know what Merlin Tuttle did. He made friends with him. Turned out to be someone trying to make a buck for his family. Merlin wanted to understand the bigger economic picture. The poachers wanted these fruit bats, which they sold to restaurants. But fruit bats are major pollinators of durian. That's the fruit with the tagline, tastes great but smells like sh**.
First blood. Game bloody on balance. Enemy fellas.
Don't die. Do we have anyone? Oh, nice.
Round 1. Beginning ring countdown.
You're gonna have to move at my speed to make the next ring.
And coming.
Got a bow check here. Evo shield here. Level
Round spotted over here. Tricks, eh? Up you go.
I took an enemy's life.
like a billion-dollar industry. You don't want to screw with that. But the nets were also trapping these bats, the bats who have the butt from which the poop come. Not only do these bats produce guano, they also eat tons of insects that are a threat to local farmers. Based on all this, Merlin convinced the monks to hire a full-time game warden to protect the cave. And in just a few years, that created an economic benefit for the monks, the farmers, not so much the poachers, but there were new jobs because the tourists showed up to watch the recovered bats fly out of their caves in beautiful plumes. Merlin doesn't just help bats, he helps people too. Bats are not only so cute, they are ecologically invaluable for pest control, fertilization, and as pollinators. Do you like tequila? Well, bats are the natural pollinators of the agave. They get their tongues all up in there. That's why the next morning it feels like you've been face-f***ed by a bat. Please consider supporting Merlin Tuttle's bat conservation. Bat populations are in decline. Some are being slaughtered by the millions. Merlin Tuttle is genuinely a hero, not just for bats, but for people. With your help,
No cluster foxtrots in my unit. Let's run this.
Hey, nope. Hey, quick question. Could I?
Mate,
Seriously?
I wasn't born to be subtle.
Hey there, nope. There we go. Okay, settle down. I can explain. It's straightforward. My name's Pete, and I'm your new butt.
Let's back up a bit. If you're picking up a kind of get me the fuck out of here vibe from that scorpion, that's because just a few yards away there are some ants milling about. Before you judge though, these aren't your run-of-the-mill playground picnic ants. These are army ants in the genus Eciton. If you follow this train of ants back to where they're coming from, you'll end up at one of these. This is their temporary home called a bivouac, and it is made from hundreds of thousands of ants. If you look closely, you can see some of them holding hands to form chains. It's very cute, and they're good at it too. And these chains...
Enemy in sight. Off the mic. Spotted. Taking fire.
Let old man Fusey show you ankle biters how we did it back in the day. We put down the last of that squad.
Sergeant Shields, come on.
Okay, that was easy.
Healing. Give me a sec.
Give me a second.
Let's
Recharging
heal.
shield.
Extended light mag here. Level 3. R301 here.
We got to really close.
Cancel that.
I'm going in. Ah! Reloading.
Cheers.
It's go time. Hit the ejector seat.
Reloading. Took out a joker.
Booyah!
We took out the champion. Good work.
Syringe here.
Charging up my shields.
Enemy black market here.
On you, mate.
Crap. Crap.
Rings nearby. 1 minute till close.
Recharging me shield. Ring's close. 45 seconds on the clock. Tonight's coming up aces. Recharging me shield.
Okay, you're good.
Rings around the corner and we've got 30 seconds.
Got a feeling Tango's up in here.
Can oath.
Can oath.
Hop in the chimney. Spotted. Double time it.
Log 25. This is Dr. Amelie. We've managed to... Gravitational funding from Shinra. Since last week.
We got company. Oh, painless. Knocking at the door. Heads down. Airstrike danger close.
Okay, that explains now. That means far from there.
Got him. Another notch on the belt.
Kill leader.
I'm the kill. Ready for bear.
What? Go faster!
Oh, they are on top. Okay.
Care package. Sweet. I got some bad guys here. Taking fire. Reloading.
Reloading. Tango down. Take fire. Target over there.
Ah, I'm down. No bueno.
Need on left. Oscar Mike. I'm spotted. Give my shield to recharge.
Enemy knuckle cluster. Reloading. Enemy knuckle cluster.
Down to top. Hold tight. I got your back.
I'm down.
Smoke out.
Enemy right here.
I'm telling you, up there, why are you shooting at me?
Half the squad's left. Let's smoke them.
Enemy right here.
Reloading.
Reloading.
Don't get your budgie smugglers in a
Target
twist.
spotted.
It's just your old mate
I can't
Hughes.
believe I'm standing still. You're lucky I like you.
Smoke out. Wouldn't let down range.
Cheers, mate. I'll be right. Using a Phoenix kit.
Extra!
Taking fire.
Okay,
Down.
not good.
Enemy spotted.
Just you and me. We'll have to... Oh, no. There's another squad. Fíjate. Yo, we got an airstrike coming down.
Cluster's firing.
Reloading. Down that one.
Clown here.
Throwing jump pads.
Reload.
Got the banner. It's a race to the beacon.
Enemy squad's dead.
Nice take that. Faster, faster, faster.
Where?
Shot
Up
though.
there. Damn it.
Shields on the way, amigos.
I will make my priority to I know the Bangalore is not really good, but still, it's better to have more targets. To be the only target.
Thousands of ants linked
Learn
together
more
to
about
form a
ants.
structure for the bivouac. Inside is a single queen, and all of these ants are her daughters. Every month or so, she lays up to 300,000 new eggs. And these eggs quickly become larvae. That's a lot of little ant babies to feed, and that's really when the murder starts. In the early morning light, the army ants begin to get a bit excited. All those tiny little ant legs walking all over each other. I'm sure it tickles. As the excitement grows, the bivouac comes alive until some tipping point is reached and the raid begins. Thousands of ants begin to pour out of the bivouac and onto the ground. The shape of a raid depends on the species. Eciton Berchelii are swarm raiders. The front of the swarm is a fan-like carpet of ants that can be up to 60 feet wide. It's basically what people hallucinate when they're having a bad trip. Don't do drugs, often. Many army ants are on the hunt for very specific prey, often targeting the pupae, larvae, and workers of another species of ant. These are the sorts of things that they bring home for supper. Baby food made out of real babies. Other army ants, including Eciton Berchelii, are not such picky eaters. All sorts of things are on the menu, which is why that scorpion was like, hell no. As the raid progresses outward, an incredibly efficient operation emerges behind it. Lanes are
Okay.
Have it here. Gonna heal level 2. Must go faster. Sending Adam. German scout here. L-Star here. RE-45, longbow here. Oh, care package, sweet.
Good, good, good.
Round 3. Beginning
Where is
ring
this
countdown.
here? Okay.
Attention. Delivering replicator.
Here comes a replicator.
Kill leader eliminated.
Standard barrel stabilizer here. Extended heavy mag here. Level 3.
Cheers, big ears.
Got an Evo shield here. Level 2.
Okay, and thingy. And it counts.
Got me eye on an enemy nearby.
I hear ya.
Pop and smoke.
New kill leader appointed.
Shake a leg. We've only got a minute.
Reposition
And
here.
the ring's right there.
Spotted. Double timing it. Giving him the chimney.
Oh no, did that hurt, darling?
Come on, you knew she was here. Okay.
Formed connecting different parts of the front back to a base column. Along the way, groups of ants are cutting and tearing apart legs and other body parts. There's a job for everyone. On their way back to the bivouac, prey items are temporarily stored in what are called booty caches. You know, where you cache your booty. The ants build bridges out of their own bodies, allowing them to move over gaps and to smooth sharp corners. It's like when you get caught holding the door open for a large group of tourists. But all of this amazing group behavior seems to arise from a set of fairly simple rules that each ant follows. For example, if a bunch of ants start walking on your back, hold on tight and stay still. You're a bridge now. If ants stop walking on your back, let go. You're not a bridge anymore. Except for you. You hang in there, little one. Sometimes, however, this rule-following behavior can lead to some problems. An ant will follow a scent trail left by another ant, and it in turn will lay down a scent trail behind itself. However, once in a while, a group of ants may get cut off from a main column, and this can result in ants following each other around in a circle. The phenomenon is called an ant death spiral, because in the worst scenario, the ants keep walking in circles until they exhaust themselves and die. However, more often than not, it resolves itself. Clusters of ants almost seem to gain escape velocity, breaking the pattern and dispersing the rest of the ants. This collection of simple interactions performed by hundreds of thousands of ants can almost be seen as a single organism. Jerry, you have to proofread. Well, no, I don't have Freudian lips, Jerry. That's not even a thing. You made a typo. These army ant raids are incredibly efficient killing machines. In a single raid, these ants can capture over 30,000 prey items. Ant birds follow along these raids, not to eat the army ants, but rather to pick off all the poor bastards that are trying to escape. If the birds don't get you, then parasitic flies lay their eggs on your body so their larvae can eat you from the inside out. There's even these butterflies that follow along and eat the ant bird's poop. It's a whole thing. But the point is, if you're a small arthropod, you stay the hell away from these ants. So what the hell is this guy doing? It turns out that a number of small arthropods don't stay the hell away from the army ants, and in fact try and stay very close. Army ants can provide quite a bit of food and protection. The trick, of course, is how not to get killed. Army ants have a bit of an itchy trigger finger when they sense that something isn't right. A number of species of rove beetle took the let's blend in approach. These are myrmecoids, or ant mimics. You can see that they went through quite a bit of trouble to look just like the ants. Impressive. However, the ants are blind. A for effort. Their mimicry, however, is mediated by other senses. To get in with the ants, it's really about touch and smell. By mimicking the grooming behaviors of the ants, the beetle not only fits in, but it also acquires the scent of the colony. It gets right up in there, doesn't it? Some of these beetles are so specialized in their mimicry that they only associate with a single species of Eciton ant. Some are so well integrated that they'll even go along on raids. Other rove beetles who are less specialized in their mimicry don't fit in as well and risk being attacked by the ants. These beetles, like Tetradonia, hang out on the periphery, looking for opportunities to pick off and kill army ant workers that have strayed too far. Some rove beetles went in a different direction. Instead of mimicking the ants, they developed teardrop-shaped armor, a shape that is almost impossible for the ants to attack. Clown beetles don't look much like ants at all, but they do quite a bit of ant grooming to acquire the colony smell. However, it's not foolproof, and a grooming can turn into a biting very quickly. Under threat, this little thing falls up and pretends that he's dead, waiting for things to settle down a bit before getting back to business. Some of the smaller beetles, like Nymphistra cronauri, aren't fast enough to travel with the ants when they move to a new location, so they have to figure something else out. The name Nymphistra sounds like a cosplay character from an adult-themed comic book convention. Nice gloves. This beetle uses its mouth parts to grab and hold on to the waist of a worker ant. And in doing so, it's just like an ant's butt. Much like how groupies attach themselves to the crotch of band members to travel from city to city, this arrangement allows the beetle to travel with the ants. If If this beetle booty generates unwanted attention from other ants, then Fister can pull in its limbs and become virtually impossible to attack while it goes on its beetles are not the only creatures to hitch a ride on these ants. Mites are perhaps the real stars of this behavior. Chillis has that teardrop shape and is attached to the mandible. But Macrochellis rettenmeyeri goes a step further than intended. It keeps them assembled to the feet of large major ants in the species Ecetone dulcis. I think this would be a problem for them, especially an ant that likes to hold hands and form chains and build bridges. But this mite actually assumes the function of the foot as well, grabbing onto things just as the ant would do. It's certainly a complicated but effective way of making sure you don't get left behind. And that's important, because during the period that Ecetone larvae are still immature, the colony will pack up and move to a new bivouac location every night. It's a bizarre and wondrous parade of babies and beetles and soldiers and workers. And right there in the middle you can just see the queen, all rushing to build a new home, where in the morning the murder starts again. Now, Jerry, the point isn't whether Freudians have lips or not. I'm sure they do, but it's not about the lips of Freudians. It's Freudian slips. No, that's not what you said, Jerry. You said I had a Freudian's lips. Well, thank you, Jerry. I like your lips too, but it's really not about whatever.
Hey, Aunt, check this out. Get it? I'm your butt. Oh, that's good.
Bob, there's something out the window. No, I'm not making it up. Bob, can you come here? Bob? Bob! Bob! Let's back up a bit. Do you like tongues? Well, if you do, you'd like the work of Dr. Kurt Schwenk. That's a good science name. Schwenk. Now, Dr. Schwenk is no run-of-the-mill amateur tongue man you might meet in a bar. No, Dr. Schwenk goes deep. He's been studying tongues for decades. No, Jerry, it's not a fetish. If a scientist does it, it's an area of interest. In particular, Dr. Schwenk has been fascinated by reptiles in the order Squamata. This includes all... Jerry, do we have a different shot? This includes all lizards, all snakes, Jerry. That's not a snake. I know it's on its belly, but it has legs, Jerry. It includes all lizards, all snakes, and the amphisbaenians, the worm lizards, which is apparently a thing. All of these animals arose from a common ancestor, but as they evolved, they didn't all quite agree on what exactly the tongue should be used for. Now, the early tongue was sort of a basic swallowing assist, but the ancestors of the squamates asked evolution if there was time for a modification. Evolution was like, oh yeah, there's time. And so they said, we'd like to, wait for it, smell with our tongue. F*** off, really? All right, we'll figure it out. But the snake ancestor pulled evolution aside and said, I'll give an arm and a leg to be the best at it. And that was the start of the negotiation. But by the end of it, the snake had a tongue that was 100% committed to a kind of smelling. Wait, how do I swallow? The snake said. Evolution winked. Oh, you'll get the hang of it. So the snakes evolved a tongue that is long and thin and smooth. It is deeply forked, and each tine tapers to a microscopic tip that may or may not look like a Stone Age sex toy. Some lizards, like the monitor lizard, evolved a very similar tongue, but with one very interesting difference, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, we say that these animals smell with their tongues, but that's sort of like saying people think with their dicks. It gets you in the ballpark of a behavior, pun intended, but it's not really true. Like most squamate tongues, these tongues are used to sample molecules on the ground in front of them. But these forked tongues have an advantage. The tines spread apart and allow them to sample two different points, one to the left and one to the right. In a single flick, they can sense the difference between these 2 points. This allows them to sense the edges of a trail they are following. It's sort of like they can smell in stereo. Here's the thing though, these tongues are more like fingernails. They don't sense anything directly. They have to transport these molecules to 2 little holes on the roof of their mouths, which
Remember to talk to each other out there. If we communicate, we win.
Fight!
You know what to do. At ease, soldier. Jackass. Gotcha. That's 3.
Maybe.
Sit still. Who trained you? Enemy down.
10 kills remaining. Five kills remaining. One kill remaining. One minute remaining.
Crap.
Lead to the vomeronasal organs. Now I know what you're thinking, you little smarty nipple. How do tiny molecules on the bottom of the tongue tines get to little holes in the mouth on the top? And how do they do it while keeping the two signals separate so they can smell in stereo? And here's the other thing, when they open up their mouths, you might be wondering where the hell did the tongue go? It disappears into a hidey hole sheath like a dog's erection. It's not that big hole, that's the glottis, a tube that allows them to breathe when they're deep-throating a squirrel's butt. Here, you can see one of the tines peeping out the sheath. And yes, that's Dr. Schwenk's blood right there. He's a badass. So here's how they do it. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? It looks like one of those ink blots that the brain witches make you look at. And they say there's no right answer, but it's always a demon with horns. Can't fool me, brain witch. Anyway, here is the tip of the tongue. Above it are the ducts that lead to the vomeronasal organ, and below it are salivary glands. And you can see that the tips rest in these little grooves. Here's a slightly more simplified version. There are grooves on the bottom of the mouth lined with salivary glands. The tines rest in these grooves, and as the mouth closes, it creates two separate channels. A further squishing forces saliva in each of the channels up and into its own duct. But in that process, saliva washes over the tines and releases the molecules to be sensed. And that is how they can smell in stereo. Now, snakes do something that other fork-tongued lizards don't do. They flick their tongues in the air in a repeated oscillating up and down movement. You try. Try flicking your tongue up and down very quickly. When humans do this, it's called an HR violation. But why do the snake do? Dr. Schwenk know why. They seem to have figured out how to sample molecules in the air in a way that still lets them sense the difference between concentrations on the left and on the right. If you farted in an elevator with a bunch of snakes, they would all turn to you. None of this smelt it, dealt it bullshit. But molecules in the air are all mixed together. So Dr. Schwenk wanted to know how they did it. He had a snake oscillate its tongue through a bunch of floating particles illuminated by laser light. During this little snake rave, he noticed two pairs of vortices, little spinning pockets of air. Two on top, two on the bottom. These spin in such a way that they pull in air from the left and from the right, and then shoot it upwards or downwards between the vortices. This creates two distinct columns of air through which the tines move. These streams of air allow the tines to collect molecules from the left and from the right at concentrations that can be sensed. So the snake has that going for it. Now, meanwhile, there was a bit of a kerfuffle with the skinks. The skinks have lovely tongues, a bit wider, not forked, and its surface is covered with overlapping scale-like papillae, making it very smooth. Good for sensing and tracking prey, but also for swallowing. A nice balance. But there was this one punk, always sucking on blue raspberry Jolly Ranchers, until it became permanent. Let that be a warning. She wanted more help catching food, because let's face it, those little hands are useless. So the blue-tongued skink evolved a tongue that has the ability to deform itself into a kind of prey mitten. It also produces a thick mucus to make that smooth surface stickier. Think sinus infection, but in your mouth. Are the new viewers gone yet? Now, when the word got out that you could use your tongue like this, well, the Iguanians wanted to go all in. The Iguanians include iguanas, but also many other species of lizards, all of which have evolved tongues highly specialized for capturing prey. They still use the tippy tips of their tongue to sense the world by licking it like it was a postage stamp from the 80s. But when it's time to eat, they roll that part back and under. This exposes an area of the tongue which is a marvel of engineering. Instead of being scaly and smooth, it's bumpy and looks a bit like a snowman's baby maker. These are covered in a forest of finger-like papillae, and the tips of the papillae are covered in a shag carpet of plumose cells. But this is a shag carpet of doom. These papillae can stick to prey through wet adhesion. Now, you've probably experienced some wet adhesion. Not like that, you perv. You've experienced this if you've tried to separate two surfaces with a thin layer of liquid between them, you perv. I know what you're thinking, you naughty bunglet. Why have so many? Why not just have a single giant papillae? Well, this is because the resistance to being separated has to do with the tendency of liquids to form this curve or meniscus around the outside of the contact area. Therefore, the resistance is proportional to the circumference and not the area of contact. It's quite a compelling graphic, isn't it? Having lots of small papillae gives you more circumference in total, and therefore more resistance. Now, once contact is made, the prey is pulled back incredibly quickly. Although it is totally f***ed, the prey has inertia on its side, which resists the sudden acceleration. The papillae stretch and absorb some of this force before their adhesion.
Found them.
Launching smoke. Enemy spotted B.
Reloading. Healing.
Reloading.
Go get him.
Molly, stim beacon here.
Reloading.
Who trained
Our
you?
spike is down.
Spike down A.
Good attempt.
Caution here.
Here.
30 seconds left.
Right here.
I have the spike.
One enemy remaining.
Enemy spotted A. Dying. Would have sucked.
Well, I got two of
We
them.
won because we were focused. Keep that.
300 for the barrier. Cheaper.
Adhesion breaks, but there's a backup plan. A special watery stringy mucus that gets stiffer under tension holds onto the prey through the violent snap. And because of all this, there is very rarely a miss.
Smoke's down.
Shot down. Enemy spotted.
Reloading.
Stim beacon here. Launching smoke.
Planted.
Careful.
Enemy spotted B. Ah. Right here. Enemy spotted B.
One enemy remaining.
Right here.
Wind, show me where to go.
I did nothing this time.
Now this cricket already thinks it's having a shitty day. It gets worse. Wait for it. Told you. In the same way that the snake went all in on the sensory tongue, there is one iguanian that
Smoke's down. Reloading. Enemy spotted B.
Right here.
Enemies.
Bomb buddy out. Spike carrier's down.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Damn it. I only got one of them.
Thirty seconds left.
Spike planted.
I don't know why they do that. It only
took
makes me
tongue
nice.
prey capture to the extreme. The chameleon has a tongue that acts like something between a slingshot and squeeze popping a watermelon seed between your finger and your thumb. Prior to the shot, a series of muscles put tension on collagen fibers, and like stretching a rubber band, this stores potential energy, which is then released in an explosion of tongue. Chameleons can so accurately sense the distance to their prey that just prior to contact, a dimple forms on their tongue ball. Although they are equipped with iguanian papillian mucus to hold on to the prey, they also make use of this tongue glove to wrap around it and hold on. This is necessary because on the way back, things get a little floppy. It's like when you feed out a tape measure just a little too far. Or take half a Viagra. So if someone tries to impress you by tying a cherry stem into a knot, you just say, "Big deal. What else can your tongue do?" No, that's suggested, isn't it? Big deal. How fast can you flick it? Nope. That's... How about, "Call me when that thing's covered in mucus." That's good. No,
Smoke's down.
Reloading.
Launching smoke. Sim beacon down. Molly.
How did he suffer no damage?
Spike planted.
Right here.
How was I?
Revealing area. There they are.
Last player standing.
Today we will explore the culture of the macaque. Okay, how do you say this one? You think it's macaque? No, it's too long to be macaque. Maybe macaque? Oh, macaque. All right. Koshima Island in the south of Japan is home to a number of Japanese macaques. These macaques have been provisioned for nearly 75 years. This means that researchers bring them sweet potatoes and then research them. which is cool. Think of it as an all-inclusive nudist resort. Except I guess only sweet potatoes are included. And strangers are watching you and taking notes. It's creepy, actually. But it's better than sitting up in a tree in the middle of a snowstorm. So not a bad gig for a snow monkey. Oh gosh, I forgot to tell you. They're also called snow monkeys. Sorry, I swear, look up a picture of a dictionary inside of a moron and you'll find me. Let me explain.
Enemy spotted A.
Imposter killed. Your duty is not over.
Last player standing.
I'm amped. Let's go. I got things to do. Reloading. As one.
Watch this!
Enemy spotted B.
Reloading.
This was a pro.
Reloading.
Stim beacon down.
Reloading. Scanning ahead.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Nice try, nice try.
Japanese macaques also live in the mountains in the north of Japan, where it snows quite a bit. No other non-human primate lives in colder places, and the human primates that do are constantly bitching about it. Except for the Canadians, they keep it all locked up inside. But these macaques are good at the winter thing. As the temperature gets colder, their fur gets thicker. Except on their butt. They don't have fur on their butt. I feel like that's a miss. But it looks like fun, doesn't it? Playing in the snow and what is that? Eating bark? Alright, I'll be honest with you, it looks like a crappy time to me. Out there freezing your nitzels off and eating bark. However, listen to this. In the 1960s, some young Japanese macaques, hippies, were spotted using an outdoor hot spring at a resort.
Right here. Launching smoke. Enemy spotted A.
Reloading. Bomb buddy out.
Enemy spotted A.
Satchel out. Satchel out.
Spike down
Joke's
A.
over! You're dead!
Last player standing.
Yikes. Blocking sight. Blocking sight. This place is nice, but not nice enough to die in. Let's win and get out of here.
get a drop? Trust in my healing.
Smoke's down. Reloading. Reloading. Open up the sky.
Remove.
Launching smoke. Molly. Stim beacon here.
Spike carrier down.
Spike down B.
Enemy spotted B.
Last player standing.
Just let them try to catch me.
Right here. You know what to do.
Enemy spotted A.
Scanning ahead.
Enemy spotted A.
Healing.
Reloading.
Barrier created.
Prepare for hellfire!
Your duty
my
is
son.
not over.
Last player standing.
Revealing area.
Anyone have any splints? I may have jammed my fingers.
Multiple fingers. Keep up. Enemy spotted A.
Launching smoke. Smoke's down. Launching smoke. Beacon here.
Reloading.
Right here. There they are.
Blocking sight.
Last player standing. Spike down B.
Look at me. I know that I am by your side.
Let's go. Watch this.
Enemy spotted A.
Enemy spotted A.
Spike carrier's dead.
Spike down A.
Get him.
Right, there's the hunter!
Obliterated!
One enemy remaining.
Aw, don't try harder.
Last round in the half.
Buy all you need.
Reloading.
Anyone need anything?
Need equipment.
Need equipment. Thanks. Enemy spotted B.
Found them.
Launching smoke. Molly. Plant the spike. Stim beacon down.
Barrier here.
Enemy spotted A. Enemy spotted A. Spike planted.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Found them.
Last player standing.
Oh.
You should run.
The hunt begins.
Switching sides.
I'll lead.
Let's fly.
There they are.
Enemy spotted A.
I'm rotating.
Smoke's down.
Got him. Enemy spotted A. Medic.
Enemy spotted A.
Enemy down.
Enemy spotted B.
Spike down B.
Spike spot right here. Found them.
One enemy remaining.
Neutralized.
Thirty seconds left.
Reloading. Close one.
Race into the spike sites.
Never lose sight.
Wall raised.
Enemies here. Careful.
Right here.
Spike planted.
There they are.
One enemy remaining.
For you. Shame. I love explosions. I hate to say it, but probably best to play as a team. So, what's the plan? Wall raised.
Found them.
Careful.
One down. Enemy spotted A.
Okay.
Silence.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Molly.
Satchel out.
Right here. Right here.
Satchel out.
We got 5.
That's bingo.
Right here.
Gone here.
We are strong because we are together. Don't forget that.
Caution here. Caution here.
Bye. Multiple enemies B. Here goes the party. Boom.
One enemy remaining.
Right here.
Healing B. Reloading. Enemy spotted B. Looks like I was the stronger one. Reloading. Gun here.
I'll teach them to respect their elders.
Sorts full. Dad joke. And once those young macaques dipped their freezing buttsicles into that warm water, they got used to it. And pretty soon all their macaque friends were showing up. And you know what happened next? The peoples built those macaques their own hot spring park. When does that ever happen? You try it. Get a group of friends and hang out naked in your neighbor's hot tub. You won't get a free hot tub out of it, I'll tell you that.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Multiple enemies A.
Enemy spotted B.
Right here. Got one. Enemy spotted
Come
A.
on. Too late.
But that's what happened, and now they've got a good sitch. They got their own hot spring, and people pay money to take pictures of them taking a bath. All right, it's a little weird. Now, you see that? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't drink from it. hot tub water. It's like a used soup. Who knows what everyone's doing in there? Like, look at these three. The one in the middle's totally peeing. He's trying to be low-key about it. And the one on the right keeps looking over. He's onto him. And then 3, 2,
30 seconds left.
There, the one on the left felt it. Hot tub got hotter. Meanwhile, this one's warming up his noodle on the hot water pipe. And then she comes along and says, I'll take it al dente. She's clever like that. And they get right into it, and they're both balancing on the pipe, and that's not a euphemism. And it doesn't last that long, maybe because it's cold out there and they both want
One
the pipe.
enemy
Again,
remaining.
not a euphemism. But she sits
Spike
up,
down,
right?
B.
Sorry, upright. Probably because it feels good on the swelling. Oh, jeez, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you about the
Spike
swelling.
planted.
I'll explain after a brief message about our sponsor. This is not your ordinary monkey in a bathtub. This one's pissed off.
Last
Or
player
yawning, I
standing.
can't tell. This is Hitmonkey, a new highly accessorized character in Marvel Contest of Champions. A free-to-play fighting game that you can play in your bathtub. Hitmonkey joins a gigantic cast of animal-based characters, all of which seem to have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. But how many of them have a foot gun? Hitmonkey does, along with a very well-fitted suit, I might add. You
My
can
power
play as
does
this
not
little
end.
raccoon fellow
Ask
with his
for
orange
aid, and
pantsuit
you
who
shall
prefers
receive.
weapons that are disproportionately large. Then there's like this duck that's not a duck, it's like a tongue lure thing, which is frankly terrifying, but also kind of amazing. But the important thing is that Hitmonkey and Tigra are new this month in the contest. You can play as them and over 170 other Marvel characters right from your mobile device. Download Marvel Contest of Champions from the App Store or Google Play. Even has a monogrammed tiger.
Found them.
Barrier created.
Enemy spotted A. I am the hunter.
Spike planted.
Enemy spotted A. Open up the sky.
Opponent killed.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Hold on to your hats.
Hey clip, very stylish. We'd call him Hitmonkey. Or not.
If you're not
Where
a
were
good
we?
shot today,
Oh right,
don't
swelling.
worry.
Let
There
me
are other
explain.
ways to do
See the one on the left wearing the kind of creepy hockey mask? Right, well actually that's a backwards monkey and that's its butt. And it's a great butt to have if you like sitting in trees. It's got these hardened pads on it called ischial callosities. Might be a little easier to see on a crested macaque. It's sort of like when you get a hemorrhoid, the doctor gives you this kind of butt donut pillow. It's like that, except the pillow in this case is made out of the hemorrhoid, but not really, but like a
There they are.
Wall raised.
Spike down A.
Enemy spotted A. Right here.
Prepare for hellfire!
You should run. Healing.
Revealing area.
Spike down A.
Enemy spotted A.
comfortable hemorrhoid. Anyway, if you play the footage
Last player
backwards, it looks like a
standing.
really weird runway show. Now, around the
30
time a
seconds
female
left.
macaque is fertile, the skin of her genitals and perineum, the science word for taint, swells as a sort of sexual signal. The degree of the swelling depends on the female and the species. We'll take a test. See if you can spot someone that's ready to mate. All right? Do you need more time? It's tricky, right? Because that could be a nose. Anywho,
10
that's what I
seconds
meant by
left.
swelling in the pipe laying footage. That one was a
planted.
euphemism. Back to the macaques in the hot spring.
Scanning
I
ahead.
know what you're thinking. That looks pretty chill, but it's not really that chill. I mean, it's not chill, but it's not chill. These are fairly strict societies. Each of these macaques has a rank within the troop. It's sort of like in middle school when you went to your friend's house and you found a list he made of his friends in order and you're not even in the top 5, which is bull because you lent him your bike. Anyway, it's like Game of Thrones, but with less nudity. And if someone gets caught drinking monkey soup where they shouldn't be, things get ugly. But violence is dangerous. Jerry, you have to proofread this. Even a small injury can lead to death because they haven't invented doctors yet. Sorry, look at this one backwards. Instead of fighting all the time, they have a number of ways of reinforcing the social order, like the grooming each other thing. I mean, it's really just non-stop, but it's a good way to check in and de-stress. And they'll back right up into it too, because nothing says I trust you more than putting your junk 2 inches away from someone's giant teeth. Macaques are also very good at communicating with their faces. Jerry, when you watch one like this pigtail macaque, it can look like when someone gets a little too into a TV show and starts acting out the characters with their face. Marriage? But Papa would never allow it. Elope? But what about the zombies? These expressions can help reinforce rank. For example,
Barrier gone. Multiple enemies A.
Enemy spotted B. Right here.
Spike down A. Thirty seconds left.
a submissive macaque might grimace, which looks like a smile, but it's like that weird smile you get when somebody's being a to you, and later on you're like, why was I smiling? Then there's lip smacking, which is like when you get nervous and start talking really quickly, except in this case there's no words. That, by the way, was lazy dominance. Not even showing up to work. However, in some species, these same gestures can be a sign of friendship and affiliation. I mean, that looks nice right there. We should all be doing a bit more of that. Better than arguing on Facebook, anyway. But don't think that this is a society held together by some alpha male grabbing noses. There is an alpha male, but the power is very much centered on matrilines. Lineages of mothers and daughters that form alliances and will stay in the troop their whole lives. Young males, on the other hand, are more or less kicked out around puberty, which I'm sure is awkward. Charlie, do you remember how I told you your father went out for cigarettes and never came back? Yeah? Well, I'd like you to get some cigarettes now. So anyway, what might appear to be a bunch of monkeys peeing in a pool getting all handsy with each other is actually a very nuanced little society. They managed to get their own hot tub. What else are they working on? Macaques are smart. Long-tail macaques figured out how to use stone tools to...
Spike down A.
Spike is here.
One enemy remaining.
Here. They were not good enough.
Let's ruin their day.
I don't know how that worked.
crack open shellfish, and then they applied those techniques to a new food, oil palm nuts. And what's more, it seems that some troops have their own preferences for types of stones. So what about Japanese macaques? What sorts of things are they learning and passing down? For that, let's go back to the snow monkeys that live on the beach. The ones that probably just ordered 2 sweet potatoes at some point, but Instacart delivered 2 duffel bags worth instead.
I'm rotating.
Down you go.
Healer down. Here.
One enemy remaining. Spike
Reloading.
down B.
Spike spotted B.
Reloading.
Level heads until we're home, yes? Good.
Let's fly. Enemy removed.
Spike down A.
Gun here. Scanning ahead. Found them.
One enemy remaining.
You know it's happened to you. So in the 1950s, a 1.5-year-old dead macaque was Jerry, is this right? It was dead? Oh, I see. It has since died. You can see how that's confusing. In the 1950s, a not dead yet, can we just leave the dead part out? A 1.5-year-old macaque was observed washing a sweet potato in a freshwater stream. And this was a brand new behavior. They named this macaque Imo, which means potato. And that's why you have to be careful about what you get caught washing, by the way. Might be your nickname. That's what Josh Balls and the Sync Spectre always told me. This new behavior
30
spread,
seconds
first
left.
laterally to Imo's siblings and playmates. The kids always start the cool trends. Then it was passed up to the mothers. As it spread, the behavior changed and they started taking the sweet potatoes to the salt water of the sea. The washing continued there, but some started to dip between bites. They were using salt as a seasoning for their potato, 2/3 of the
seconds
way
left.
to a French fry. Get these guys a deep fryer. Sure, a few
Spike
might fall
planted.
in, but that's how I learned to swim. Now, in the first generation of potato washers, this behavior spread from the youngsters to the adults. In the next generation, however, the bebés learned from their mothers, watching as they were carried along down to the water's edge. But Imo was not done innovating yet. She's like a little genius monkey. In addition to the sweet potatoes, grains of wheat were scattered around the beach. Imo figured out that instead of picking up the grains one by one, which is a huge pain in the butt, she could scoop up a bunch of sand that had grains in it and bring that over to the water. Toss that in and the wheat grains separate out. Kudos to her, I wouldn't have figured that out. I'd still be back yelling at whoever scattered the grains in the first place. I mean, who does that? It's like saying you're gonna bring Pringles to a party and then crumbing them all up and shoving them in your pants. Sure, technically you brought them, but nobody wants to eat them that way. Anyway, Imo died many years ago, which is sad. Who knows what else she might have come up with. But her innovations gave us a peek at how macaques learn new things, and how those learnings become traditions that are passed down through the generations. Perhaps the building blocks of culture. So it's macaque. Alright. But the gene...
over! You're dead!
Enemy spotted A. Enemy spotted A. Right here. Enemy spotted A. Watching here.
You will not kill my allies!
Open up the sky!
Last player standing. Spike planted.
That's 3.
You should run.
Stim beacon here.
One enemy remaining.
Venus name
Attackers
is what?
win.
Macaca. We'll throw Macaca up on the screen. Okay, Macaca, I see it. Jerry, don't do that. Leave Macaca where it was. Don't play with it. Remarkably, Raspberry here has learned how to use a stick to... Oh, no, she's just being a to Pepper. We can't use that. Members of the family Felidae are obligate carnivores. All cats, from the majestic 4-nippled tiger to the 6 to 8 on average, sometimes an odd-numbered nippled domestic cat, must eat meat to survive. Despite being very good at puking up grass, they have lost the ability to digest and ferment most plant matter. However, they're very good at digesting meat and organs with levels of fat that would quickly give us a heart attack. Cats have evolved into exceptional hunters with exceptional sensory capabilities. However, all of this may have been driven by a lack of sense. All cats lack the ability to taste sweet. An irreversible genetic mutation in a common ancestor made their sweet receptors inoperable. So sweet and sour soup just tastes like sour soup. Cats may have become the super predators that they are because everything else just tasted like crap. You take my ding-dongs away, I'd go a little crazy too. What other small evolutionary quirks and adaptations can help explain the cat? What makes the tiger tick? Why'd you bleep that? I mean like tick-tock, like a tick. Follow me while we go behind the tiger. That's weird. Inside? Follow me while we go inside behind the tiger? Oh, just inside the tiger. I think that's worse. Whatever. We'll talk about cats after a quick message about our sponsor. Have you ever wanted to be a tiger? Well, this month, Tigra arrives in Marvel Contest of Champions, a free-to-play fighting game you get right on your mobile device. This means that you can bring her and a whole menagerie of animal costume enthusiasts into your home. Here's Rhino, a man so powerful not even a rhino eating him can stop him. That's just how his suit looked like. That's how he do. Vulture has powerful wings and claws capable of breaking a man in two. I haven't seen a lot of robotically enhanced vultures, and honestly, I'm glad about it. And of course, there's Tigra, who is dressed as my #1 last-minute Halloween costume, a kitty cat. Tigra here has heightened strength, speed, stamina, and razor-sharp claws. I do not, but I do look exactly as good as Tigra when I wear this outfit. Hitmonkey and Tigra are new this month, joining over 170 Marvel characters from every imaginable multiverse in Marvel Contest of Champions. Go download it now from the App Store or Google Play and play as these new characters, only available in the contest. Cats have very good night vision. They can see in the dark almost 6 times better than we can. When the lights come up at the club, they're not as surprised at who they've been dancing with. They have a tapetum lucidum, which is a reflective layer inside the eye and behind the retina. The retina is where light-detecting photoreceptors are. So light hits those receptors on the way in and then is bounced back through those receptors again, amplifying the response to available light that enters the eye. Think of it like how the taste of a Taco Bell bean burrito is amplified by tasting it while you eat it, and then again when you verp it back up. The tapetum lucidum is what creates that eye shine effect. I mean, it's a little awkward if you're trying to hide. It's like if a ninja rode to work on his bike and then forgot to take his little pant cuff reflectors off. I see you, ninja. Like many animals, cats have a palpebral tertia, or third eyelid. This is what sometimes makes your cat look like a little demon baby when it wakes up. Think of it like a moist wipe, but for your eye. This membrane cleans and moistens the surface of the eye while also protecting it. Humans have a little fold called a plica semilunaris on the inside corner of their eye, which is a remnant of this membrane. It's not that weird little bump. That's the lacrimal caruncle. Kind of want to pop it. You may have noticed that the pupil shape of a tiger is different than that of a domestic cat. There's lots of pupil shapes out there. Some are vertical, some are horizontal, some, like ours, are rounded in shape. And then whatever the hell this is. It's like the mouth of a sad ghost. And stupid clans, they don't even have pupils, they're dumb. You look like Jabba the Hutt when he got all horny. Horny Jabba. Martin Banks and et al., who's like the best scientist, he's on all the papers, used their sciences to explain these differences.
Scanning ahead. There they are. Enemy spotted B.
Out of charges.
Reload.
All raid. Recalling my bot.
Reloading.
Remove.
Enemy spotted B.
Toxins going up.
Reloading.
Toxin screen down.
One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left.
Toxins going up.
Last
Spike
player
carrier
standing.
killed.
Spike down mid.
The tooth. I didn't think he could do it.
Don't die. If you need help figuring out how, just ask.
Biggie, Sova.
I have the spike.
Turret out. Reloading. Reloading.
Take flight.
Last player standing.
Their phoenix may feel immortal. I shall remind him just how mortal he truly is.
Placing sentry.
I'm afraid this might get rough.
Revealing area.
Spike carrier is dead.
I have the
Spike down C. Spike down, C.
Variable removed.
Not bad. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Turret down.
Last player standing.
Cutting through.
30 seconds left.
Out of charges.
It turns out that vertical pupils create an increased depth of field on vertical contours. This means that if you focus on an object, vertical things like blades of grass in front of or behind that object don't go out of focus as much as horizontal things do. This information can be used by the brain parts to more precisely calculate depth, and this arrangement is found in hunters that ambush and pounce on their prey. However, this benefit diminishes as you get taller. Lower to the ground predators like foxes and kitty cats.
Turret out.
Revealing area.
Reloading.
Found them.
Toxin screen down.
Have vertical pupils while their taller relatives like wolves and big cats have round pupils. And this would explain why almost all birds have round pupils. Horizontal pupils are a bit different. They tend to be on prey animals with side-facing eyes. These function more to create a wide panorama that can discern a predator's movement across horizontal lines on the landscape. This only really works if the pupil is parallel to the horizon. And in these animals,
Last
as
player
their head
standing.
moves up and down, their
Spike
eyes
down,
rotate
mid.
to keep their pupils in line. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
30
I know what you're
seconds left.
thinking. If vertical pupils are so great, why do my cat's eyes go all cray-cray before it pounces? Once a cat is locked in on its target, it's probably trying to get as much visual information as possible before it flies blind, so to speak. Because of their relatively big-ass eyes, cats can't really focus on
10
things
seconds
closer
left.
than about 11 inches. This is a bit of an awkward blind spot to have if you use your face to kill things. The cat's vibrissae, or whiskers, help fill in this information gap. These are sturdy hairs that go deep into the skin where they are surrounded by sensory receptors. Like a fishing pole, the hair itself can't feel, but the receptors are like your finger on the line. As the whiskers are displaced, these receptors respond to things like the force, direction, and acceleration of that movement to create a kind of touch picture. Sort of like when you feel around for keys in a cluttered handbag, except better. It seems as though they can even sense the air currents surrounding objects.
Keep it cool.
When cats
That's how you
attack,
survive.
this shot goes later. When cats attack, they're
I got the spike.
My ult's ready. I'll handle this. Here. Here. Enemy spotted A. Enemy defender.
Placing sentry.
Last player standing. Spike down A.
Toxins going up.
30 seconds left. Flawless.
Act on my intel. Don't give them time to reposition.
I'll turn this around.
Turret out.
There they are.
Oh.
I am the hunter! Not bad.
Deploying drone.
Careful here. Idiot. Right here. Hey.
Toxins going up.
Need healing.
Toxin screen down.
For you. Thanks.
Right here.
Yeah,
Scanning ahead.
thanks.
Thirty seconds left.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Last player standing.
Prepare yourselves. We fight once again.
No.
Scanning ahead.
Placing sentry. Turret destroyed.
Enemy
Reload.
spotted. B. Nowhere to run!
Initiated.
Oh, you will not kill my allies.
I know exactly where you are.
Many enemies mid.
Last player standing.
Enemies close. Eyes up.
Let's go!
Shock dart. Revealing area.
Turret out.
Yeah.
Barrier created. Enemy spotted B.
Spike down mid.
The eyes are down.
One enemy remaining.
Reload down. Out of charges.
Plant the spike.
30 seconds left.
Spike
I
drop.
have the spike. Spike planted. Didn't you? I hear them scurrying.
Can someone get this? Breathe deep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Placing sentry.
I
Spike.
have the spike. Reloading. Reloading.
I'll handle this. Here. Enemy spotted. C.
Turrets destroyed.
Last player standing.
My quiver is never full.
Quick peeks now.
Reloading.
Careful here. Reloading.
Reloading.
No.
Enemy spotted B.
Oh.
Carrier killed.
Spike down mid.
Not bad.
I have the spike.
Not bad.
Last player standing.
You will not kill my allies.
Not bad. If I kill all the enemies myself, I apologize. I have trouble sharing.
As one. I got the spike.
Scanning ahead.
Turret out.
Stay quiet.
Bot coming back.
I am the hunter!
Spike down A.
Silent. I have the spike.
My carrier is dead. Yeah.
30 seconds left.
I have the spike.
Enemy spotted A.
Last player standing. Spike down A. Last round before the switch.
Can't take anything with us after this. Go for broke.
Right here.
We go!
Reloading.
Spike dropped.
I have the spike. Turn out!
Careful here. Enemy spotted A.
Turret destroyed. I got your spike.
Enemy spotted A.
Initiated. Opponent killed. Fire in the hole! Healing you. Finished.
30 seconds left.
Reloading. You will not kill my ally!
One enemy remaining.
Okay, Sage, the Scheiße hurts.
Switching sides.
Placing sentry. Recalling my bot.
Forward.
Placing sentry. Bot coming back. I'm rotating.
Enemy spotted A.
Turret out.
Multiple
Powers
enemies
out.
A.
Reloading.
Reloading.
One enemy remaining.
Nice shot.
Everyone note down your observations, then let's run it again. Placing sentry.
Their whiskers move forward. Okay, so it's a bit of a fart in a hurricane if you're trying to stop a charging giraffe. But if you hunt large animals with a precision bite, it...
On my way. On my way. On my way. On my way. On my way.
Reloading.
Spike down, C.
Enemy spotted C.
One enemy remaining.
Spike spotted C.
The dimensional fabric here is thin. I'll tear through.
It can be the difference between dinner and getting all messed up. Whiskers may even allow a cat to feel the pulse of its prey, so it knows when it's safe to let go. Cats have a very good sense of smell, with over 40 times the odor-detecting cells in their nose parts. Cats communicate through scent. For example, here is this lion's Tinder and LinkedIn profiles, all in one.
Enemy down. For you.
Alarm bot out.
Spike down A.
On my way.
Recalling my bot.
One enemy remaining. Flawless.
Welze sucks.
If you lose focus, you die. Breathe when it's over.
Turret out. Alarm bot out.
Revealing area.
Enemy spotted A.
I need backup.
Bot coming back. I'm rotating.
Enemy spotted A. Enemy spotted A.
Spike planted.
Right here. Right here. Die. I am the hunter!
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Shock dart. A bow and arrow is old-fashioned, but sometimes old ways are best.
Keep it cool. That's how you survive. Placing sentry. Placing alarm bot.
Yeah.
Spike planted. Last player standing.
Who to smother first?
Placing sentry. Placing alarm bot.
Isolate them and kill them.
Scanning ahead.
Enemy spotted A.
Recalling my bot. Bot coming back.
Enemy spotted A. Enemy spotted A.
Healing.
Take flight.
Enemy spotted A.
Turret out.
Many enemies A.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Fire in the hole!
Last player standing.
Impeccable kill. Oh.
Match point.
Make them beg.
Turret out. Alarm bot out.
Isolate and exterminate.
There they are. On my way.
Deploying drone.
One down.
Enemies careful here. Enemy spotted C.
Thanks.
There they are.
Bot coming back. Recalling my bot.
Watching here.
Alarm bot out.
$30 seconds left.
Placing sentry.
Careful here. Enemy attacker spawn. Enemy attacker spawn.
Bot coming back.
Time to jump.
10 seconds left.
Enemy in attacker spawn.
One enemy remaining.
Die. It's for us, Rachel.
Watch them run when lit by my sonar. That's when we strike.
They don't want to.
It's like the internet, except communicated by pissing all over stuff. It's basically the internet. To really get up in there and interpret these signals, they have another smelly organ called the vomeronasal or Jacobson's
Placing alarm
organ.
bot.
It is located above the roof of the mouth, behind the front teeth, where the cat has little ducts that lead to it. When animals that have this organ use it, they...
Careful here.
Don't get in my way.
Your duty is not over.
Careful. Oh!
You will not kill my allies!
Is it what should be called stank mouth?
I
But
know
scientists call it
exactly where
Flamin's response. Whatever. You know, Flamin must have liked the stank. though. I'll check to see if the milk is good, kind of guy. What's that brown thing on the carpet? Go get Flamin, he'll smell it. In any case, you know when
One
you try
enemy
and smell
remaining.
your own breath without using your hand, and you think no one notices? This is what you look like. Domestic cat owners will sometimes see this after their cat has a quick chat with its eye of Sauron, so to speak. You know the position. It's the, what honey, my doctor asked me to send him a picture of my hemorrhoid position. Telemedicine. Oh, don't front. We know what you, oh, you were gonna lick your toes? Is that how you normally do it? One of the most striking features of a cat's tongue is that it is rough. You'd think it'd be meow. Sorry, dad joke. Being licked by a cat is kind of like watching a 2-year-old that just learned how to blow through a harmonica. Super cute at first, and then quickly becomes painful. Cats' tongues are covered in little spiky papillae.
Not bad.
Take flight.
Spike down A.
Right here.
Recalling my bot. Bot coming back.
Found them.
Initiated. Careful. Careful. Oh!
30 seconds left.
Toxin screen down.
Spike planted.
Revealing area.
Joke's over! You're dead!
For you.
There they are.
Reloading.
Toxins going up. Poison orb emitting.
Last player standing.
Killed.
Attackers win.
Papillae, made of keratin, the same stuff that makes fingernails. Scratchy. For a long time, these papillae were assumed to be solid conical spikes. However, Dr. Alexis Knoll and et al., again, was looking at how papillae might help a cat eat by dragging a cat tongue over a piece of pork. As one does in science. She had a lot of tongues lying around, all donated post-mortem. You know she has a good comeback when somebody says, "What's the matter, cat? Got your tongue?" Oh, you'll find it's just the opposite, Mr. Bond. Anywho, Dr. Knoll found that after cleaning the papillae, some of the meat was still stuck. A closer look revealed that the papillae are not solid cones, but rather grooved in a U-shape. It turns out that these grooves are just the right size to pull in and hold a certain amount of saliva from the mouth through surface tension. This is very useful in grooming, which is like the cat's main gig. Cats have 2 layers of fur, an outer protective coat of longer, thicker hairs, and an undercoat of many, many fine hairs. If the cat had a smooth tongue, its saliva would cause the top layers of hairs to mat and stick together, and would only partially penetrate the fur. In the grooming motion of the cat, however, the papillae rotate to become perpendicular with the tongue, while the fur is compressed. This allows the papillae to get all the way to the surface of the skin. As these are drawn through the fur, they deposit the trapped saliva along the thin strands of hair and onto the skin. Even big furry cats like the snow leopard can reach their skin with their papillae. Only the domestic Persian has fur too long and dense for effective self-grooming. You can kind of tell. This grooved tongue brush filled with spit adaptation is good for cleaning, but it may also be vital for cooling. Cats have very few sweat glands, and the ones they have are mainly on the pads of their paws. Wait, how many toes is that? The saliva that they deposit on their skin and fur evaporates and helps them cool down. Cats use another fancy tongue trick when they drink. That is, if they can actually find the water. They can't really see things close up, but still, heaven forbid you get your nose a tiny bit wet. Trust me, I could drink beer out of a bucket in the dark. Both dogs and cats curl their tongues backward when they drink, but the dog creates a kind of little spoon shape that goes under the water and scoops it up and brings it back to the mouth. Since the dogs do it that way, the cat had to do it all different. Instead of going under the water, cats rest a smooth part of their curled under tongue on the surface of the water. This creates liquid adhesion, which you can kind of feel if you put your palm on the surface of water. Try it when your roommate is in a bath, for science. When the cat pulls its tongue back, water is pulled up with it through inertia. This creates a column of water suspended for a moment before gravity screws everything up. The cat's mouth quickly chomps on that water column before it falls. Lots of complicated little sips. Sort of like eating by throwing things up in the air and trying to catch them in your mouth, like some young people are wont to do with grapes. Yes, the cat is remarkable to behold for its strength, speed, and power. But perhaps it is the small things that truly let us take a peek behind the cat. Are you not hearing that? I'm telling you, it doesn't sound right. And by the way, you don't have to take a peek behind a cat. They'll parade it around right in front of you. I mean, if it was up to me, that's where I'd put their third eyelid. Or maybe not. It'd be weird if it winked at you. All cats, from the majestic four-nippled type... Why are we saying how many nipples they have? No, I get that it's factual. Well, sure, but I don't introduce you as Jerry, my two-nippled friend. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. Oh, really? Harry Styles has four.
I'm drinking beer from a bucket in the dark. Beer from a bucket in the dark. Bucket. Bucket.
Reloading.
Okay, I remember.
Reloading. Reloading. Bomb buddy out. Multiple enemies B. Reloading. Enemy spotted B. Reloading.
Spike down B. Last player standing.
Ray, can't we into the tunes yet? I know you got the good stuff.
Intoxicated, I know I'm losing myself. I can't take it anymore. Reload. size. Would love to pick them apart.
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
I got their omen. Enemy spotted A.
Poison orb emitting. Leave us. Poison orb emitting.
Still in sight. Reloading.
Poison orb emitting.
Nowhere to run!
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
One enemy remaining.
Toxins going up.
Last player standing.
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting. Poison orb.
There's the toe hold. Now just dig in and climb up.
Poison orb. Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
Find the weak point and break it.
Poison orb emitting.
Hawk out! Blinded.
They will cover. Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting. Spike carrier killed.
Reload.
Spike down A.
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
I have the spike.
Poison orb. Orb emitting.
Last player standing. Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Poison emitting. Orb.
The enemy only looks composed.
Orb
Their
emitting.
heart's still a different story.
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
Reloading.
I'll take everything from them. Poison orb emitting.
Go get him.
Poison orb emitting.
Hawk out! Blinded.
Spike down B.
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
Cutting their vision.
Last player standing.
Poison orb emitting.
Flawless.
You want me serious? You got it.
Bring it up!
Reloading.
Come on, let's go!
Spike down B.
I have the spike. They're dead. Toxins going up.
Last player standing. Spike down B.
They're nothing but flies. Poison orb emitting. Emitting.
Bomb buddy out.
Enemy spotted A.
Hawk out. Blinded.
Bunch of guys B.
Hawk out.
One down.
One enemy remaining.
Hawk out. That's only killed.
If you lose focus, you die. Breathe when it's over.
Embarrass them.
That's done.
Bomb buddy out.
Careful.
There.
Spike carrier killed.
Spike down B.
You will not kill my allies.
Last player standing.
They're going to scatter from my stuff. Super easy to pick off. Reloading.
Hawk out.
Bunch of guys B.
Nowhere to run!
Last player standing. Spike down B.
My priority is their suffering.
Reloading. get him. Woo! Reloading. Reloading.
Poison orb emitting.
Here comes the party! Satchel out.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, who's got the snaps? Okay, I only have like 78 grenades left. Hopefully that's enough. Reloading. I got yous, okay?
Hawk out! Hawk out!
Cutting their vision.
Bunch of guys B.
Get out of my way!
Someone's B.
I have the spike.
Fire in the hole!
Cutting their vision.
Reloading.
Spike down A.
Satchel out.
Last player standing. Last round in the half.
Can't take anything with us after this. Go for broke.
Reloading. Reloading. Reloading.
Going up. Careful now.
Still in sight.
Nightmare's over.
Last player standing.
Make
Switching
sure to follow my
sides.
pack in. They'll lead us right to the enemy.
I got you, bruv.
Hawk out!
Poison orb emitting. Poison orb emitting.
Enemy spotted B.
Poison's off.
Last player standing. Spike planted.
You're up. Stay safe. We're going back in.
Poison orb emitting.
Multiple enemies B.
Poison's off.
Someone's
Hawk
being
out!
Hawk out!
Spike down B.
There. There.
One enemy remaining. Thirty seconds left. Spike planted. Last player standing.
We know what we're doing. Trust each other and we'll be fine.
Time to mobilize my pack.
Poison orb emitting.
Someone's A. Going up. Reload him.
One dead. Hawk out! Hawk out!
Spike planted.
Cutting their vision. Still in sight. Die.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
They will cower. They will die, hopeless and afraid. Hurt those who hurt us. Poison orb emitting.
Come on, let's go!
Nowhere to run!
Cutting their vision. Cutting their vision.
Spike planted.
Someone's B.
Snuffed out.
Last player standing.
I'm the last thing they'll see before they die. Lucky them.
Let's make 'em dance.
Bomb buddy out.
Multiple
Rotating. Poison orb emitting.
Spike planted.
There. There. Still in sight. Enemy spotted.
Poison's
A.
off.
Reloading.
Last player standing.
Triple, baby.
Fire in the hole!
One enemy remaining. Match point.
Paint? Check. Charges? Check. Brakes? Nowhere in sight. Let's make some chaos.
Poison orb emitting.
multiple enemies B. Enemy spotted A.
Poison's off.
Spike down B.
Still in sight.
Get out of my way!
Spike down B.
There.
Spike's B.
There.
Someone's B.
Last
You
player
will
standing.
not kill my allies!
Attackers win.
Run!
Okay, for now.
Waster is a social platform for gamers, but it's also so much more. It's a world which allows you to be a gamer.